Fuck all the sports entertainment shit that's out there.
A handshake is more powerful than a spinning side suplex powerbomb variation, you know what I'm saying?
If you watch WWF, then obviously you've a tiny brain, so you won't think a headlock can be an effective way of murking someone.
2001's in the past. Gotta be king in 2002 now. Don't even get me started on what happens in 2003.
That's what Donnie B's there for.
Christopher Daniels' way of life is fucked up, but I think I like it.
It is okay to sneak attack Christopher Daniels.
The fallen angel has no honor.
He is a dishonorable man.
Now Gabe is really only looking to follow the rules.
I like what handshaking and holding the tag rope is doing these motherfuckers today.
Gabe doesn't like gays.
Wow, did you see the results of this TWA online poll? 64% of the vote. Read it and weep, Steve.
Because Gabe's got a book. Even with his eyes closed and his ears chopped off and his trans CD snapped in half.
I'm not getting into a draw. I'm leaving tomorrow.
I don't. Replacement housemate will be joining you shortly.
Audience ready! Wrestlers ready!
I was lost, 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 I was lost. Cross lines of shit.
I read a 411 Mania report of this show just out of curiosity because I wanted to confirm like one of the segments that happened, but it didn't cover it. But what it did say is they really did love the Rebel Without Honor storyline that Christopher Daniels was going through.
So, Daniels, he's not
Daniels?
the first thing we see on the show. We'll get to the first thing we actually see on the show, but Daniels, he's someone I didn't mind him in TNA. I could watch him in TNA now, probably. But this Ring of Honor shit is fucking... Who likes this? Who likes it? Well, 411, apparently.
It turns out that's true. Yeah, like a lot of like the 411 Mania like folk, like they'll have this like habit of I liken it to Progress fans, you know, where like they'll be like, this match was good. It's the sort of stuff you expect from these guys, you know. They just went out there and did their stuff. It's so like, you know, so it feels so nondescript and just like self-explanatory that like, you know, you think, oh, okay, it must have been a good wrestling match. And then you watch it, and it's so much more than that. That they just like, you know, that they just assume that you'd think is like normal and good. And then like, yeah, so Christopher Daniels, the Jimmy Havoc of his time, and you know, the first thing that we see.
I've not had much engagement with that 411 site, but yeah, the first thing we see, Chinese arm tattoo. Who could this be?
Yeah, it's Mian, which is like usually the character comes up and is like words for effort. So you know, who else could that describe but low key?
Oh.
Well, SpongeBob is here and he is feral. And guess what? Guess who is kissing him on the forehead? It is the Hit Squad.
Yeah. So, low motherfucking key. He's sat down. He's looking at the floor, being intense. Dan Maff, he delivers a pep talk. He says, "It's not about Xavier. It's not about Prince Nana. It's not about Amazing Red. It's not even about Christopher Daniels." And then, look, he stands up and he looks like fucking intense. He breathes heavy at the mention of Christopher Daniels. And then Homicide appears. He just appears, right?
Yeah.
And he slaps Loki's chest.
Yeah.
He says, "Show that motherfucker what you're made of. Kill that motherfucker." And then Loki, he grits his teeth. He starts punching the freaking wall. And Dan Maff shouts, "Hell yeah, Loki!"
And then
it's the best.
Yeah, okay, so this is one of those things where, like, you know, it was funny
it's
to me.
downhill
It was funny
from
to me.
here.
It was funny to me at the time that, like, you know, he, like, just, like, raised his head at Christopher Danners, right? But now I totally get it, because that's, like, fucking, like, even the mention of his name just, like, makes Loki go mad. So, you know, this is just, like, already some, like, fucking, you know, martial arts movie shit, you know what I mean? This is just a grudge. And then he, like, punches the wall, and it's great. And he goes...
I started losing my shit. It was so cool.
And he goes, "Christopher Daniels, it's not over."
God, he's fucking dead. These guys might have... These Jersey guys, they might have pumped him up a bit too much. We'll see why later on. But for now, it's techno time.
Well, it's techno time, but I tell you what, it's also for... You know what? This is some great long-term storytelling, because all these times we've been hearing about, like, the long car ride, you know? All these mystical, like, transits that, like, wrestlers take, which is apparently troublesome to them. And now we get it here, because we get roadside. We are on the roads, Eva. And
oh no, imagine looking on roads.
So Gabe says that, you know, via text on the screen, he says that all roads lead to Philadelphia. So that's a great way to seg into this show, which is the road to the ROH title, which is not Philadelphia. It's being contested in Philadelphia, but that's Gabe!
So yeah, it's time to take an eckie and gurn like a mad cunt at these edited ring entrances that they show. Sometimes they're sped up, sometimes they're slowed down. Sometimes there's a transition effect where the previous screen flies away, like you let go of a balloon.
I get the feeling that you appreciated the upgraded graphics in this show. Am I right in that?
I did.
Yeah, we get like fancy pre-match stuff now, even fancier than last time.
Yeah, it's the funniest shit. The tune's cool as well. Like, I'm gonna ask Gabe for some recommendations on techno and maybe some trance.
Yeah, he's listened to all those like albums where it's just like, you know, the cover is just like an alien just like sitting around just having a nice time. So road to the title. This is the road to it. We're on it, and this road will consist of a fucking tournament. Basically, the whole show is a tournament, and it's like a fucked up one. It's not just some sort of thing where, like, you know, you'd think that, oh, these are all just like first rounds or quarterfinals or whatnot, but because they decided to have the fucking finals match be a 4-way, it has to be like 4 fucking blocks, A, B, C, and D. And
but it doesn't have to be though.
It doesn't have to be.
There's a 4-way final. That's a thing. Like what we saw towards the end of the show with the semi-finals. Fuck this 4 tournaments thing they're trying to put over. That's
considering that like each block only has 2 matches. Having a block designated.
There's one thing.
Yeah.
There's one thing at stake as well. Like, everyone is aiming for the same thing. It is the same tournament. Fucking dickheads.
It's fucking bullshit. I hate it. And so, yeah, we basically get like all 4 blocks. So it's like, I think it's like 16 people who would be in it, so as to end up at 4 in the finals. And okay, first match we get for this is the American Dragon. He's here, and who is his opponent today?
It is Biohazard.
Eva.
He's a weird-looking fucker.
Eva, please don't be a weeaboo. His name is Resident Evil.
What?
Resident Evil. He spits water out like a fucking disgusting person, doesn't he?
I took more issue with his shitty braids. He's like, he looks like kind of bald, but
he does.
Braids just hanging off him. It's a choice.
Yeah, it is indeed a choice. This isn't a comparison that I can really like give much examples or like much substance to, but it's just something that I felt. Bryan Danielson, he feels like Nicolas Cage here, doesn't he?
Does he?
As in, like, just like the strange energy he has here. It reminds me of just like a bug-eyed Nicolas Cage, where like. It feels like a conscious like affectation for him to be like going yeah! and all that, right? But I don't know. It's
right.
At the same time, it feels kind of it has a strange energy to it.
Are you saying it's like his performance in The Wicker Man or something?
Well, sure.
He's going bees.
Well, yeah, if pick and take your Nicolas Cage movies, like I don't know, it's just. But yeah, it's a.
I'll have to take your word for that one.
Aye. Well, take my word, you shall. My next note is Donny B. No. So. Yeah. I was like, we had that amazing low-key segment, and then we had hilarious editing with sick techno, bro, and fucking, and then Donny B and Steve Corino come to, and they're gonna weigh this shit down. Like, this should not be so difficult to watch. Like, look at the people, like 16 people in this tournament. About probably 11 of them are cool in some way, in varying degrees. It's fucked up what they do to this. It's fucked up. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? It's in like all these matches on this card should be watchable. But the way they're presented can often, take away from that. Like, Donny B and Steve Corino explaining the Iron Man stipulation during a match. But
yeah, I'm sure there's loads of people who end up watching Ring of Honor who don't know what an Iron Man match is.
This is I was going to fucking get to this. This whole fucking thing. Everyone who's watching Ring of Honor, they would fucking know. There'd be no casual Ring of Honor fans, I don't think. As in, it'd all be people who like, at worst...
No, certainly not in 2002.
Certainly not in 2002. It'd all be people who like at least know WWF like that, right? So they'd know. But it's just this fucking thing.
They all
where, like,
probably subscribe to some kind of newsletter.
And that's the thing. Like, see all this stuff. Like, I'm sure that people like. I'm sure even that fucking like 4-1 Mania guy thought it was great, right? All this explanation stuff. But the thing is, it's not as if they're sitting there be like, oh, I didn't know that. They're just like sitting there cross-armed like, yes, it's a satisfactory explanation of knowledge, like a fucking exam or something, you know what I mean? And it's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. But I liked this match. It was cool. I think that...
Yeah, it was alright, actually.
Aye.
It's short and harmless. Biohazard, he gets like a minute or so of shit in. He doesn't look as terrible at wrestling as he is at styling his hair. And once Dragon gains the momentum, he didn't lose it, and he taps Biohazard out before the 3-minute mark. Decent way to open the show.
Yeah, I mean, you remember when we were talking about how, like, the TWE Gauntlet match was a terrible way to follow up on, like, Key versus Bright, wherein, like, all this momentum he had, where he looked like the main guy, and then he would just, like, put in this, like, fucking bullshit. And, like, it just, like, this felt a lot better, like, him, like, squashing Resident Evil, and, just, like, really, like, putting him into pasture. It just, like, it felt a lot more as if, like, what should be happening. And then, like, there's this part where, like, Donny B says that Brian's forearm could have crippled Mount Rushmore. So I suppose that's true for Donny B. So yeah, Resident Evil in his first outing gets squashed. It's a sad time for him, but it's good times up ahead. They're remaking the third game, did you know? But yeah, so this was a good match, and now Dragon is going ahead in that tournament. Wow.
He is. That was out of the way, nice and quick. I'm thinking, maybe I was right about this being like a really watchable show. Next up, though, we do continue on with some nice stuff, in my opinion. Although I had an unorthodox method of being able to enjoy this match, because Corino and Donny B are so fucking terrible, man. And Paul London versus Spanky. So these are I've got over these are important guys to me.
Yes.
They're like my first boy crushes,
yes.
battling each other. And I was just not prepared to let Donny B or Steve Corino ruin this.
Yes.
So I decided to start slapping my shoulders and face to every strike and bump. Just so I was concentrating fully on what the two were doing and nothing of what Donny B and Steve Corino were saying.
Oh.
Ring of Honor has driven me to self-harm in the fourth show, guys.
No.
I'm self-harming now.
Okay. Wait, okay, so... No, this approach to watching stuff, it doesn't necessarily need the sound to be on. You can just estimate via looking at it when they've taken a bump or anything, right? You could have just put on mute.
Yeah.
Why did you not put it on mute?
I decided to go about it a different way. I'm not just going to put on Boney M.
Say that as if it's like a disgraceful choice.
You see me? I move different. Just wanted to try this out. I just wanted to try it out.
Well, it's funny that you decided not to pay attention to commentary, because this is the start of me just taking a lot of objection with the commentary. But first off, Spanky, his graphic. Spanky's graphic. Okay, so for London, he just gets the basic thing, he gets his name in text, a bunch of clips of shit, Sometimes they play it backwards, whoa, and that's cool. But then Spanky, so first off, his font is in Comic Sans. It's Comic Sans with a big thick outline, and it's one letter at a time, just coming on screen, S P A, and all the other letters you've come to know and love. So it's just a really great time.
They're all in different colours.
Yeah.
Gabe's artistic side just really coming out on this show.
Yeah. So Spanky, he's got this fancy jacket on, and this is the sort of jacket that I've come to know him for. That crazy shit that he would be the Ryan Kendrick to. So that's cool.
Yes.
They get into this match where they're doing some wrestling, as they're wont to do. Spanky, he gets a wrist lock, and so Donny B, he says that if London is not careful, he might end up in a submission right here. Thus I must ask, what the heck's a wrist lock to you, Donny B? And then I'll tell you my next two notes here verbatim. Fuck. You're explaining it again.
Yeah, this is when I started doing it. First what I did was I immediately paused the video. I just went, oh, and then I thought, right, I'm not gonna let this be another Briscoe versus Mamalik, where a match that looks good is just gonna be fucking obliterated by these guys.
Yeah,
I can't do it. It's too important to me. It's Paul freaking London. So that's when I started slapping myself in the fucking face.
And I actually slapped myself in the face more. It feels good. So yeah, then like Donny B, like, you know, it's been so long since we've been watching ROH. You know, it's quite reminiscent of the conditions set out in like My Flame by Bobby Caldwell. You know, but instead of any sort of like fondness that this absence has grown in my heart, I just like, you know, I'm brought to such reality by Donny's segues. You know, as to like every single fucking thing that Carino says, like Donny will just be like, speaking of blowing up, or well, you might have blah 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 blah. He's just like every single thing he manages to link back to it. Like he's incapable of like, you know, being silent or letting stuff sit. Everything just gets followed up. It's robotic in that way.
Just in case you're wondering, this isn't sports entertainment. It's professional wrestling, you fucking cretin. You thought this was sports entertainment, you dummy dumb. Go watch fucking SummerSlam, you mark. You jack off to bodybuilders on steroids just like Vince. Oh, sorry. I'm heated, you know.
Go jack off to SummerSlam. So, Eva, did you know that recently in an RF Video Show interview, Terry Funk said that Paul London is he's got a bright future ahead of him?
I did. I did know.
Well, I did, and you know, Steve Carino helpfully says, I don't usually agree with the Funkster, but this time I'm gonna agree. This Paul London guy, he's really got something. And yeah, I'd say this is a good match in retrospect. You know, there's a lot of stuff he did that was quite good. It's just like, you know, the commentary can ruin it. Like, you know, what fucks it up is how, like, you know, if sometimes it feels as if like the commentary audio track was pasted on like 1 second before it ought to be, because like a big move will happen, right? And Steve Carino, he'll go, whoa! But he'll do it like as the move is still being hit. You know what I mean? It's not landed yet, and he still go like, whoa, what a move! And like, you know, it's bad enough when like, you know, it feels so like predetermined, their comments, just like, you know, going like, you know, like, oh, what a match that was! You know, and it barely feels as if they've fucking registered anything in their minds. But it feels worse when like the commentary just straight up feels like out of sync.
Please just let me enjoy my agile twinks. I'm going insane.
My agile twinks. They are pretty agile and they are pretty twink. Yeah, there's some good stuff to enjoy from this match. It's like, even here, I think they have like good chemistry established. You know, Rudy Boy's there.
Yeah.
What did you think of his presence at ringside?
I only noticed him like sort of midway through. He was cheering on London, a bit biased. I mean, they're both your guys.
Well, the reasoning given by Donny, who's going by that guy, was that, you know, Paul London is a lot younger. He's a lot less further along than Spanky is, so he's like cheering on the young guy to step up, much like a modern bird. That's also a Donny B quote, by the way. What did you think of the superplex that happens here?
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks like London tries to block it, but loses his balance.
Yeah, and then he like goes bumpy on the floor, much like Humpty Dumpty or something like that. Yeah, and so then after this, you get a rare mistake by Spanky. Can you guess what that mistake is, Eva?
It looked like a miscommunication to me.
Oh no! I'm talking about a different rare mistake.
What was it?
Oh well,
you know. You're trying to tell me.
Oh well, you know, he goes for a pinning combination, right? But what the fuck? He didn't hook the leg.
Oh no!
You piece of shit!
He didn't hook the leg. See, I was slapping myself. I didn't. I didn't take any issue with his non-hooking of a leg because I didn't have somebody to tell me that it was a very bad thing to do.
Yeah, this is why commentary exists, you know? You gotta know that, hey, how is a guy meant to jump out of your move if you hook his damn leg? It's fucking idiotic. Anyway, Spanky wins.
Spanky tries for a vertical suplex, but London takes like a stiff-looking DDT.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
it's quite strange.
Yeah, after the head drop superplex, he kind of just, like, intentionally does that on the ground as well. Just like, it looks quite strange but cool in a way. And yeah, then he does slice bread number 2 every single time that slice bread number 2 gets done, or if it's even referred to, as I find out later on, they explain why it's called slice bread number 2. You know, it's terrible. I'm not even going to dignify it with like reciting the whole thing because I hated it. Anyway, so
that was a quite nice match. It gave me a bit of a sore shoulder and face, but
yeah,
I did manage to enjoy it. So that is the important thing, I suppose.
My ears were left sore. We're both pained by this. So then we move on to the next match. I can't remember what block this is part of. It doesn't fucking matter. But it's
no, it's the first round. It's a first round match. We're not dignifying their blocks.
First round match. It's Jay Briscoe versus Doug Williams. Jay Briscoe. I enjoy his little graphic because it includes a lot of Mark Briscoe just looking disappointed.
Yeah, there's like some early feeling out before Mark just wanders out like about a minute in.
Yeah. I think that Donny B is a lot like Microsoft Sam. Like, it feels as if he is not designed to ever change tone. He'll just have the thing where, like, you know, if it's near the end of a sentence, then he'll think to, like, you know, sort of like maybe wrap stuff up tonally. But otherwise, he just he'll just like fucking list UK wrestlers, and just like it's so mechanical in its way. And that combined with like the utter lack of silence in this broadcast, like I could probably make a supercut of like all the amount of times during which, like, you know, the decibel level of this is like, you know, the lowest it could possibly be, and it'd probably be about like maybe a minute. It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, it's just another one example of it. The 18-year-old phenom versus one of the deadliest human beings on the planet, the Anarchist. That's what he says about this match. And Doug Williams, he shows a lot more than he did at the King of the Indies, I think.
Yeah, he's brilliant, and crowd are really taken to him.
Yeah.
I love the way Doug's on his back. Jay goes to take his leg, but in like a short motion, he manages to push himself up with his leg, push Jay down with his other leg, and then he gets Jay into a headlock.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I suppose we'll get into it more later during, like, you know, the other, like, Doug Williams match. But, like, you know, I think a lot of people sort of have it in their minds that, like, technical wrestling is just, like, the existence of, you know, technique. Where, you know, like, if a guy, like, you know, holds onto a headlock for a long time, that's, like, you know, some, like, great shit. You don't need to do anything with it. You just need to stay there. And, you know, like, they'll just like, oh, you guys aren't appreciating this damn mastery of the wrestling technique. But, you know, this really shows, like, what the proper shit is, what the real stuff that, like, you know, gets you fucking fawning over technique is. It's just, like, this, you know, ability to be really dynamic with how you do it and how, like, you know, you just, like, integrate into your match. And Doug Williams is a really good example of that. Mark Briscoe, as you say, he comes out to spectate the match, and it's quite fucked up. Because, you see, they have a hard cam angle with which to shoot Ring of Honor, and then they will have the handhelds, which are operated by people who are around the ring. Unfortunately, in the hard cam shot, you can see the guy who is operating this hard cam. It's just this guy with like a blonde bowl cut, right? and also Mark is on the same side. So you just see both their backs. You will see the blonde bowl cut guy just like swerve around as unsubtly and graciously as possible, so as to get a zoom in on Mark going, "Come on, man." And then he'll just like go right back. Like, you just see this all happen, and it's so like it repulses me on some level. And there's this like disgraceful seg from Donny B, wherein, you know, he's like it again goes back to this out of sync thing, you know, where like the commentary is talking about things that happen like after the commentary happens, where like, you know, Donny B is like getting told something that's impressive, or he's saying something that's impressive, right? And at this time, Jay Briscoe is like on, like, he's going to the top rope. So Donny B says, "But not as impressive as that top rope leg drop he just hit." But he hasn't actually hit it yet. You haven't even seen him jump for it. You piece of shit. What did you think of finishing stretch? What with the Jay Driller teases and whatnot?
One thing I did notice how many neck bumps Dog is doing here, which is not something you'd think is sort of in his game, but he's doing them. He's pulling them out.
It's true. He is pulling them out. And then,
so what did you want to say about these J Drillers, or the J Driller attempts?
Well, I liked that, you know, due to the struggle that happened during the attempt of a J Driller, it was adapted into a butterfly hold. You know, just took him to the ground and, like, you know, really wrenched in the underhook so as to put down the head. I like that sort of stuff. It's a lot better than just, like, you know, the usual fare. And then also he hits that Chaos Theory, and it looks cool. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's dog food.
That was a very pleasant match.
Yes.
Mark. He seems to find this loss amusing somehow. What a disturbed young man.
So Jay gets up, right, and like they shake hands, and Jay appears to be like sorrowful, perhaps apologetic even. He's going to Mark, and I can only assume he's like, "Oh, I am sorry, bro. I fucked up again and lost." And meanwhile, Mark is just like, I don't give a fuck, bro. Come on, suck my dick." So
he's so unhelpful.
You know, the Briscoes, like, whether in CZW or RH, they're just a never-ending source of mystery. Wherever they are, they bring with them confusion, and I can't wait to see what happens next time. So then we get this graphic for the next match, which, you know, like, Gabe, like a disgraceful guy, you know, he has stolen Lobo's idea. He's booked Johnny Storm versus Jody Fleiss.
Yeah. Just shamelessly capitalising on the successes of Lobo and his junior heavyweight tournament.
Yeah.
In this preview video, Gabe is usually opted for some techno or some trance, but I think he's gone for some hard style, I believe, if I'm getting my genres right.
Wow.
So, you know, an eclectic guy, man.
Well,
he knows his shit.
Well, I really loved the text here. Because, like, you know, during these video packages, they've really experimented with the segmenting of sentences for dramatic effect pacing, you know. So for this, the sentence is, "How high will these UK stars fly for the Ring of Honor title?" Right? It's a rhetorical question to be answered by the match, right? So the way that they segment it out is, like, you know, while they're playing these clips, it goes, "How high will these UK stars fly for the ROH title?" Question mark? When I saw that question mark, I just like I'm so laughing so hard. Like, it just caught me off so guard. So caught me off so off guard. And that was the thing where, like, you know, you proposed that the Spanky thing should be the JIF, but I don't know, that question mark is very compelling.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good candidates. I have a personal favourite that's coming up later on. I look forward to telling you about it. So this match, we have seen it in the Best of the Best.
Yes.
This is a less shouted out version of it, but I enjoyed it a lot too. First they do, fast 50-50 stuff and do standoff, and I was like, it's not my favourite way to start a match usually, but this does get really fun.
Yeah.
Commentary tells us that apparently these two have wrestled over 150 times in the past 3 years. I don't know if that's an accurate number, but the chemistry is obvious. Both have some great high spots. Jody has a fucking beautiful springboard shooting star press to the outside.
Yeah.
Amazing form on that. Storm leaping up to the top rope in one motion and German suplex, and Fleisch rotates and lands on his face. That's really fun.
I would like to read a quote now. It's from our boy, Don, right? He says,
Yes.
Jody Fleisch set to take off much like one of those jumbo jets to go from here to the UK and back on an hourly basis. Now, I didn't actually note down the exact point where this happens, but there's some Donny B line where perhaps it's this or like a segue or just some bullshit he says where I paused the video and I began I was face down on my mattress and I was laughing in such a way in which it could at any point turn into crying, that sort of laughter, where it's just I'm not amused. I'm just I've been forced to my limits, and Donny B did that. In this match, it gets put over that he is the Motormouth as perhaps a sort of a sort of what would be the word? Poking fun at himself, showing that he's a fun guy. He calls himself the Motormouth, and they just go over it. You sure to speak a lot, but also when it's combined with him just speaking a lot, it disgusts me that he does this. And something about that plane line.
What?
So the whole point is that after a tope, Johnny Storm does this big braid move where he goes under the ring to the other side. So Johnny Fleisch where'd my opponent go? But then Johnny Storm goes up on the other side and ambushes him, right? because Donny V is too busy talking about fucking Heathrow, he misses this and makes no comment on it whatsoever. So
he's just too caught up in his own shit.
It's true. The only other real note I have here is the 720 DDT, named after one of my favourite video games of all time, Steve. The 720, but I can tell you this, tomorrow I can show you Johnny Storm will not feel like playing video game. It really does sound like I'm making it up, doesn't it? When I'm saying it right now.
It is truly fucked up. And I was also trying to focus on what these guys were doing, and just I might as well have been watching this match going blah blah la 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 la, not listening. Blah.
Oh, is that what your technique evolved into by this point?
No, not quite, but I might as well have been they do get more unavoidable for me later on, but I am doing my very best in these early matches to just focus on the fucking matches and and not these fucking buffoons. So yeah, Storm, it's a reverse Frankensteiner type thing coming off the top rope, and that's nice.
Yeah, the rewind one. Yeah,
he tries again and he gets caught in a powerbomb. It's a nice finish. Fleisch wins. Yeah.
It's the sort of I counter, you counter thing where it keeps you on your feet because a magnificent counter they happen in a sequence actually leads to a finish. It's good.
Yeah. I'd say not everything here hit as well as their sort of very acclaimed match at Best of the Best 2, but this is still a blast to watch and not to be overlooked if you're a big fan of them or the CZW match. These two rule.
Yes. Steve Carino, he's very amused by Donny B bringing up his favorite video game, 720. So it's like, tell me about the video game again, Donny. And then Donny goes, no, Steve. And then the finish happens. So so Jody Fleisch, he advances, and that's cool. He'll be moving on, and then we move on as well. We go backstage, and guess who it is? It's the magician Jerry Lynn.
Yeah, the Christopher Street Connection are sexually harassing the Phantom CZW champion Jerry Lynn. They are doing this because they are gay, which means they have no boundaries.
Yes, so Jerry Lynn, he's quite bemused by all this. He's just trying to eat his banana, and soon he just goes, help, and then leaves. And then Christmas Street Connection,
help. That was quite funny.
Yeah.
That's the best thing Jerry Lynn does on the show.
Wow. So Christmas Street Connection, they have this very mysterious line, because the whole point is that the banana is meant to represent his penis, right? They want to suck his penis, but
yes.
then
I gathered that.
Then they have this thing where they say, "I liked it better when it didn't have the skin on it."
What?
That's what I thought, because what the fuck was that meant to mean?
That is truly incomprehensible.
Man, Christmas Street Connection, maybe they are fucked up. They're just
maybe they're cannibals, and that's why they don't. That's why they're disliked. They fucking eat people. When we see them kissing in the ring, they're not making out. They're actually chewing each other's tongues.
Oh man, Anyway, we move on. Then we get to another first round match, and this the Road to Ring of Honor title tournament. It's Prince Nana versus the Low-Ki.
I sort of remembered this one. This match. So first, it's preview video time, of course. All the first round matches have very important previews. This match, it got personal on the last show with the promo segment. Gabe, he helpfully reminds us as to the 2 reasons why this is personal now.
The slap. The KO.
And then it just says, be ready. It's what the text on the screen says as Low-Ki's head begins to
That's so funny. Just see it's not even just Low-Ki is his head is inflated, his face looks like a balloon. It's also he's got this huge head, and his body looks normal still. So it just looks like they turned on the big head mode cheat on a PS1 game. So this match, Prince Nana's there, and then Low-Ki gets in the ring, and Prince Nana ambushes him, right? And nobody really comments on this. So I felt myself becoming Larry, So I was just sort of kind of going Chick, sneak attacking people. It's against the code of honor. Chick. It's just no one's fucking listening to me. God damn it. So
yeah, I mean, it's done that they don't make any comment, but also, do you want them to go, oh no, he's broken the code of honor? There's no winning. There's just truly no winning in Ring of Honor.
The inconsistency of Gabe, to be able to figure out what he's doing is just probably the worst part of everything. And I was thinking about it today when you were talking to someone about the disgusting homophobia that Ring of Honor puts forth. Just the fact that Gabe, 1 minute he's oh, these people with the alternative lifestyle, and the next minute he's just calling them faggots. He can't even fucking decide how to hate people. It's just, it's terrible. And so this is another example of it. Elax is out here. He's having a good time.
yeah. I don't think he's ever taken anything seriously ever. He's just out there making funny faces.
Yeah, that makes him the best character in ROH. Carino says that he'd hate to be Nana when Loki explodes, because you know when Loki's in that ring, he's gonna explode.
I like Prince Nana's big ass attack to the corner.
Yeah, that was
He does it like 3 times though, and the crowd hates it.
Yeah, I was really about to ask you that about what you thought of like the rear end of Prince Nana.
Yeah, it's good. He's got a like rugby frame and it looks good.
Yeah, the commentary speculates that he could put Loki in a coma with that ass. And then you know, if that wasn't enough as far as ridiculous stuff goes, like Donny B has this like line where, like, you know, I don't know if I can really articulate it well. It's like you have to have like listened to it in the exact mindset I was in when I was listening to it, where like somehow just like the rhythm of this line as well, just the pacing of it and the way he finished it, is just like, you know, he's talking about Loki like doing, I don't know, low kicks or something like that, just like coming back onto Prince Nana, right? And then he said, Donny B says that Loki is knocking the body weight off of Nana in the form of sweat.
So this is a short match. Nana obviously gets the jump on Loki early on, and Key only manages to get like short attempts at a comeback until boom, just one fucking kick to the head. He murks him full stop.
Yeah, he murks him.
The ref pushes Key back and checks on Nana. Ref says Nana's knocked the fuck out and rings the bell. So lots of people rush in to check on and assist Nana. I feel like this might have been a weird work shoot, but I remember this convincing me when I watched it for the first time. I'm sort of 50-50 on it, undecided whether it's shoot or not. But crowd gives Nana a good reception as he's going to the back, you know, because at the end of the day, Ring of Honor fans are human beings. And so I thought that makes it weird if it was a work, but I don't know, just get the sense that it was.
Well, I think it's one of those things where, like, where like it was fake doesn't really matter, because it ended up like accomplishing something anyway. In which, like, you know, at first, like when the match is called off, people kind of boo because apparently a huge kick to the face is not a good enough climax for him. But then they sort of appreciate that, you know, Loki is like, you know, the youngest, but also the fastest warrior in the tournament. So, you know, like they get with it, and you know, I quite liked it. Steve Corino is such a bitch because, like, Paul London versus Spanky, see, during that, like, there's a tope that happens, and then like you know, Corino's like, oh, you remember last time Paul London was here and he broke a guy's leg? Wasn't that great? You know, and then and then. This incident happens, you know, seemingly another, like, injury of concern, and he's just, like, fucking Owen voice, you know what I mean? Just like, oh, you know, you don't want to get your brain damaged, you know? You fucking cowards. Say this shit is cool too, piece of shit. So, yeah, and then it's really cool that, like, you know, Loki, like, he just does Loki face, and then he plays his music, and then he goes away.
yeah, he's still just like looking around, just like in intense fight mode, you know. you know, some people had reservations about our Loki and Brian compilation episode because, like, those guys are just good, but Loki is one of my favourite wrestlers ever, and also funny as fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
so.
you could maybe, like, I don't know, you could maybe say that we can't get much material out of, like, I don't know, Brian thinking that Kane is a genius, but, you know, like, Loki, there's so much to him, there's so much to love, and you know,
Kane's always reading a book on fucking fascism. So now we learn of ROH's first sponsorship deal. Xavier, he approaches Jerry Lynn. He shakes his hand. Jerry Lynn is wearing headphones, and Xavier asks him what he's listening to. Jerry Lynn says, "It's Soylent Green." Xavier puts the headphones on. Yes, if you can find this at Walmart. Jerry Lynn scoffs. Nah, try relapse.com.
Oh.
And I left it. And, I laughed at the ridiculousness of this pointless segment. But before I could realise what I was doing, I ordered hundreds of pounds worth of death metal from Relapse Records. And if you want to check out the latest sick chunky riffs, I'd suggest you go do the same. That's relapse.com. So many dark, filthy records, such as Descend into Depravity by Dying Fetus. Or maybe you're more of an anal cunt guy and you need the t-shirt to prove it. Relapse.com has you covered, Fiends of the Night.
How many makers would you say that Relapse.com has?
I would say an endless amount.
An endless amount of records, and I would reckon that Xavier, he knows an endless amount of wrestling holds. So Xavier, in this utterly inscrutable segment, he just goes up to Jerry Lynn and he's like, "Hey man, nice to meet you. My name is Xavier." And then Jerry Lynn, he kindly takes off his headphones like, "Oh hey, how you doing?" And then he's like, "What are you listening to?" Like, "Oh, this is," they just have this. It's this fucking weird thing where Xavier, he seems like he's like an alien. You know what I mean? Like he just comes off like, there's nothing behind those eyes. Like he's been abducted before. It's fucked up. And yeah, Walmart, you kidding me, buddy? This is Ring of Honor. This is Ring of Honor, not Ring of Consumerism.
Xavier just looking like a dickhead out there.
So then the pre-match graphic for Xavier's match takes place. And
this is my favourite. This is my favourite. Like the letter X shows up. So I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna start spelling out Xavier, but then it just says Xavier in one word for some reason.
Well, I'll tell you.
And then the letter R shows up, so I'm like, oh, okay, now it's just going to say red in one word. But they fucking put Amazing Red.
Yeah.
What? Why? But it's brilliant still.
X for Xavier, R for Amazing.
Ramazing Red.
So Xavier versus Reds. So the winner of this match faces Low-Ki in the next round. So it's understandable that you'd want to get across that, perhaps you don't want to fight Low-Ki. He's an intense guy, don't you know? So the commentary, they decide they want to do that. They want to get that across. So they say the winner of this match is going from the fire into the inferno. That is not the idiom. And also
going from the fire into the fire. Guy just can't get away from the fucking fire.
And also, even if it was meant to be like, I gone from the frying pan to the fire, what exactly about a Xavier match is a frying pan? And if you want to talk about, turns of phrase, butchered again, Donnie, he fucks up the Low-Ki adage. He said some shit about it's not the size of the dog in the fight. What's the dog? It's the warrior, the fighter. Bullshit. Bullshit. So Xavier match happens. How about it?
This seems alright. Xavier's a bit more interesting. He's obviously a guy that he can fling around, but that's just the strength of Red, really, that he can fucking bump for days for you and do sick dives. There's a bit where Red gets on the top rope facing away from Xavier, but Xavier intervenes by slapping Red lightly on the ass.
Oh, that's some good shit.
But a slightly red ass cheek does not discourage Red. As soon as he is able to hit the infrared, followed by the red star press as an exclamation point, he gets the win. Not much to say about this one, but it was decent. It was a decent, sort of first round match that gets out of the way.
I like the spinning splash that Red did, where he spins a lot, right? and like because of this, he fucks up his trajectory, and he just like destroys the ankles of Xavier. Like, because I've been watching this promotion called Noah for a long time now, and Yohei
that sounds interesting.
Every single time Yohei does the fucking like thing that he does, where like he does a spinning splash, he just like always just like it's basically an ankle move. Like he never hits it on like the stomach or anything. So it's very funny how like I don't even know what engineering would be involved in that, but it's not going well for any of them. Speaking of not going well, man, stuff is not going well for Xavier here, nor Red for that matter, because damn it, they go behind the curtain and what goes on? Who's there to meet them?
Christopher Daniels.
Christopher Daniels.
Donny B says one of Xavier's best traits is his honor. Wow, extremely storytelling, folks. Extremely storytelling.
Oh.
And Loki will face... Red will face Loki in the next round, and that sounds alright, I suppose.
So,
but yeah, Christopher Daniels is spoil the fun. Daniels yells at Xavier because he was counting Xavier being the one to knock Loki out of the tournament, and then he threatens Red, saying that he'd better beat Loki. But whatever, shut up, Daniels. More like the fallen a-hole.
Well, you missed it. The best part is that like Daniels, he threatens Red, right? Red is there. He's so much shorter, and he looks so scared of this guy, that fallen angel. Who knows what this guy could do? He's so scared, right? So it's like, you better eliminate Loki. And then he goes, and that's the gospel. Totally straight face. He says, and that's the gospel according to me. Man, Christopher Daniels, I hate this guy so much. But anyway, then we get to like this match featuring Christopher Daniels, and
right, and this is where like I just fucking I've been able to enjoy the matches so far, and it's not like we've seen the last good match, but the show just takes a turn here personally, and I have a horrible time for most of the rest of the show. Right.
Well, it's
so for this match preview of Christopher Daniels versus Scoot Andrews, Gabe has had enough for the dance bangers for the time being. Opts for some like heavy metal or whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, that's relapse.com for your headbanging needs. And there's also a very strange segment where some guy introduces Scoot Andrews to Sumi Sakai from the JD apostrophe promotion. Connor, have you ever watched that promotion, JD apostrophe?
No, but I did a lot of research into it because of this. JD Star, it's usually referred to as JD. It was this promotion started by Jaguar Yokota, and it was basically one of these promotions where, like, from my research, this is not based on me watching it, so you can take it with a grain of salt. If you're out there and you've been watching JD Star all this time, you're like the last fan of it or whatever, then that's fine, you can hang me at the stake over it. But it seems as if it was one of those promotions where the people involved who are funding it and were just running it, there are people who didn't really know much about wrestling, and so they would what they would do is they would take these stars of women's wrestling, Nagai or Asuka or something like that, and they would think, oh, we can push these people to the top, and then we'll make lots of money. They don't really take into account the age or the condition of people, and so basically what that meant is they had people who weren't able to main event, and also nothing else. And so the main thing that JD did was they introduced this thing called the athresses. It's meant to be athlete and actress, so it's we train these girls to be wrestlers, but then they're going to be actresses ultimately. Just a very explicit form of the idol culture that you will see in a lot of places. And Sumiya Sakai was someone who came up there, and she was just sort of like someone who, you know, was around there, would be around places like Gaia and like, you know, whatever, like AEW and all that, just like someone who makes rounds and all that. And after this like period of like 2002, 2003, she would have like, you know, left JD, and then like, you know, I don't know if it was where like, you know, after she did that, or like, you know, there was a bit between then, but she would have left Japan to go to America. Yeah, like I remember reading that it was like because of like during an injury or some sort of break, she just became enamored with American wrestling and wanted to just like live in America full time. And JD, that kind of like, you know, jumped from owner to owner. Interesting enough, like this would have been after like, you know, Sakai left, so it's not really relevant, but I just thought I'd bring it up because like, you know, I'm not about to go on like a fucking JD completely inaccurate podcast. Like soon after, they seem to have like an inroad with Mariko Yoshida. You know who she is?
I know the name.
She's the lady who wears the spider attire. You know, spider web on like her thing. You know what I mean? She was a Narsen.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So she like has like some notable trainees like Hiroyo Matsumoto, you know, Yono Matsumoto, and like also
yes.
Misaki Ohata, and like, you know, they would have like started out in JD, but then like, you know, they would have mainly been involved with like Yoshida's like group Ibuki as well, and like then also like JD went out of business like 2007, so you know, Ohata would have like joined in like 2006 and then immediately just be like, I'm going elsewhere. And so yeah, Sumiya Sakai, she went on to go to America, and you know, everyone will probably know her best as like, you know, the Women of Honor like champion, like who was that for a long time, because like, you know, Ring of Honor didn't really particularly care to give her much. And
yeah, that's the decision that everyone found like bizarre.
yeah, absolutely. But a funny thing I discovered was that you know, there was this point where in around 2004 her buddy Sabu was in trouble. He was suffering from a...
Her buddy Sabu?
Yeah, our buddy Sabu.
Oh, our buddy. I thought Sumi Sakai's buddy was Sabu. I was like, really?
Well, that was the thing, is that Sabu was suffering from some sort of virus that, you know, was that could have like benefited from you know, perhaps a benefit show of some sort. So she, along with the FMW successor WMF, she is attributed as like one of the driving forces behind the organisation of the two We Love Sabu shows held in Defer Ariake. And these shows don't appear to have ever been like broadcast or anything, but they include people like the Sandman and other such ECW people, along with, you know, like the sort of like post FMW usual suspects, you know, like Gentaro and all that, you know. So I thought that was pretty cool. Sumiya Sakai, she loves Sabu, and that's cool. And guess who she also loves, apparently? It's Scoot Andrews, because, you know, Scoot Andrews, he is just posing and such, you know, just flexing for the cameras.
This is a very short, awkward interaction. All they do is shake hands, and then, you know, Scoot goes back to posing for photos. But apparently a great friendship was formed here.
Just you wait. So, Scoot versus Daniels, it's going down. Scoot Andrews, who, you know, yelled so triumphantly at Daniels last time, but here he is now in that tournament match. Wow.
Yes. When I was writing that Daniels should shut up and I called him the fallen a-hole, I had a brief idiotic thought of, am I hating on him because he is good heel? And, man, his entrance throws that theory in the fucking bin. It is sick. Not one of these cunts is booing him. One guy even does a bowing motion. It is truly repulsive. Like, I can't stand that shit, man. There's a difference, between liking a heel wrestler and giving a comic book villain a fucking reach around. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I felt the exact same thing. Like,
it's the same people that fucking, like, whenever Vince turns up, even though they go like, oh, Vince is out of touch. Like, what an idiot for not booking fucking Ricochet to win or whatever. And then he'll come out and then just bow to him. Fuck you.
As we'll know, a lot of stuff happens on these shows in these years. It's a predecessor to modern WWE style, modern wrestling style, modern American style, right? It's like, it's clear to see the influence on it. This here is a predecessor, the ancestor as such, to every single fucking thing where, like, every single fucking epic heel thing from fucking like Adam Cole or just any of this bullshit. Kevin Owens, just like all this fucking crap. Where just like, it almost feels as if like you can't really articulate. It's just like so self-evident when you see it. You know when you see it, you know, and like just the fact that like again, they just show his full entrance here, you know. They show him like walking around all the way and posing on turnbuckles and all that, and like, you know, everyone loving him. And you know why? It's because Gabe thinks this is so fucking epic, you know. It's a real moment, you know. Big pop, share on R squared circle, piece of shit. And then he does a fucking promo too.
Yeah, Daniels starts talking, but I'm not listening. I have to use my brain to do that. I refuse.
Unfortunately, I did do that. I did listen, and also listened of us to a line that Steve Corino said, wherein he addresses the popularity of Christopher Daniels, where he says, "You see all the people cheering him, but all the boys in the back hate him because he always breaks the code of honor." And I made a noise similar to so Christopher Daniels gets to talking, right? And so he is like, you know, oh, I want to destroy the Ring of Honor. It was foretold in that prophecy. And guess what? That prophecy, it's the name of my stable. And the stable, we're going to destroy Ring of Honor. And the first member of this prophecy, come on out. And guess what? It is Simply Luscious.
Yes. Are Christopher Daniels and Donovan Morgan like joined together yet? I can't even fucking remember.
Well,
but,
they actually do address this later on, and
okay.
and their answer is kind of just, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They had some kind of conversation. Didn't? Yeah. Yeah. They did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess the prophecy just got another member, or was officially born. Who cares?
Yeah, so you remember like last show where like the last thing we ever saw was him like, you know, telling Donovan Morgan, "You see what I mean? Ring of Honor, Jesus Christ!"
Yeah.
So yeah, then this happens and like, you know, Simple Luscious comes out. Man, how can she have like, you know, this lady who previously has you know, participated in a fucking Christopher Street Connection versus Hit Squad match, she has like went away from the path of honor to join this devil that is Christopher Daniels. You know, it's crazy. So then Scoot comes out. Scoot, he is
Donny B, right? He says Scoot is quick to scoot to the ring, no pun intended. Come the fuck on, Donny B. You absolutely intended that pun. We have also had fun with Scoot's name, but we would never lie about our intentions like that. You despicable man. Fucking no pun intended. Fuck off.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So, you know, Scoot, he gets to the ring, right, and he and Christopher Daniels immediately start fighting. Now, you know, I attempted to like bring up the lack of Code of Honor stuff when Prince Nana attacked Loki, but this time they do it because Gabe is inconsistent as shit. And what they say is that you know, Donnie, he says that Scoot Andrews did not break the Code of Honor because Christopher Daniels doesn't live by it anyway.
Truly mind-numbing shit.
And I remember now, this is the time where I almost cried. I just paused it and almost cried at Ring of Honor.
So yeah, Daniels wins after a moonsault in less than 3 minutes. I barely even looked at this match. I barely even watched this match. I merely looked at it while snarling.
Listen, I had hope for Scoot in this match, you know. I had hope.
The King of 2001?
Yeah, I was beginning to become smitten with him a la Jay Bradley, you know. So I was really sad when he didn't win. And look, I know you have a lot of stuff to say about the thing I have afterwards, so I'll just get this out real quickly. Simply Luscious. She takes the microphone. She, you know, takes care of that heckling put her away, and then she says some stuff to Scoot Andrews, and then like mushes him in the face with her hand, and then she is like, hey, slap me back, Scoot Andrews. Come on, I'm tempting you, much like Satan. Sin by hitting me, a woman. And then Scoot Andrews, he takes the mic and he goes, you know something? The Black Nature Boy has never hit a lady, but I know someone who will. That lady who said hi to me once.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the crucial line here. When Simply Luscious is daring Scoot to hit her, Carino astoundingly, he says, oh, she's daring him to hit her. It's every man's dream.
Every man's dream.
What the fuck? Every man's dream.
Mm.
So one of the most astounding revelations from this podcast is like realizing how regularly this period of ROH is more offensive than like CZW. Almost all of CZW is not that offensive.
Yeah.
And it's more offensive than IWA that we've seen, and it's perhaps more offensive than XPW. Like, and nobody ever really talks about it. It's disgusting. There's coverage on early Ring of Honor, but people just kind of assume that the deathmatch places are worse because they're all scum or whatever. But they're not. This is the worst place. The three most offensive things that we covered so far have all been from Ring of Honor. Yeah, the debut hate crime match.
Yeah.
The Carino comment about how you get a wife in Ghana.
Yeah.
And now this. Like, yeah.
Like, I think the thing is
There's
that,
only
like,
a couple of things that even come close.
See, like, CCW and these other places, I wouldn't put a real possibility that they would, like, think that, like, oh, I'd love to smack a bitch up or whatever, right? But the thing is, they'd never approach it so hungrily. Like, Ring of Honor, they just, they just have such lust for these, like, horrible things, Like this, or like the gay bashing, just like
CCW is not woke. Like that crowd loves a faggot chant.
Right.
But that's sort of par for the course, and it's to be expected if you're watching 2002 indies. Like I'm not totally naive and going in with like my enlightened 2019 mindset. But ROH manages to go like above and beyond to like be disgusting.
Yeah, as in just
so fucked up.
Just like the sheer pleasure with which they say like, oh, there's the hag, because they know they're about to see her like get power bombs so they can fucking like wank over it. So like that, just like it's really repulsive. I
want to officially take back that Chris Kloss is my least favorite commentator because I'm going to admit that I was in a bad mood the week I watched XPW. I just wasn't able to see anything redeeming in it. And when I listened to our show back, I was like laughing quite a lot. Like the fucking slow motion cum sounds at the end. It's fucking like that had me cracking. So like, yeah, they're too absurd to be the worst. Either of Kloss or Rivera. Like, nah, Steve Carino's the fucking worst. He was wretched in fucking Sinclair Ring of Honor as well. Yeah, and you don't know, right? Nobody knows what it feels like to wake up and immediately start like crying for like half an hour because the reality of the Tories winning the UK election just hit me, and then I sort of gathered myself, picked myself up, tried to do some self-care, and then I put this fucking show back on and I hear this. It fucking sucks. Sucks.
Man,
but yeah. Anyway,
Ring of Honor is terrible.
Scoot Andrews, he would never hit a woman. Scoot Andrews would never hit a woman, but he knows someone who will. And you know what? I genuinely expected the Hit Squad to come out. My expectations are that fucking low after the Korean comment that I thought the fucking Hit Squad would come out and just batter her.
Oh man!
Thankfully, like Sumi Sakai comes out. I could safely say I've never been happier to see her. I'm not sure how Sumi and Scoot managed to organise this in their like 1.5 second interaction they had, but
I would say that perhaps like some sort of telepathic relationship was like done by the handshake. That's the real power of the handshake. It gives you mystical powers. And I did indeed do this for Scoot and Sumi. So Sumia comes out, and she's like all smiles. She's got a hat on and whatnot, and then
Right, so they've literally just heard the commentary. Have literally just heard Scoot say "Sumi Sakai," right? But Donny B says "fucking Sumu," and Carino says "Sume." So I'm not sure if they're just being incompetent or mildly racist or both.
Yeah, overall, horrible phonetics on this show. They have this impromptu match, Simply Luscious and Sumiya Sakai.
Yeah,
and
the first women's match in RH history.
Yeah, it's quite true. And, it's, Chris Cross, ultimately, his only crime is he wanted to cum, He's a cummer, He just loves cumming, right? But, Steve Carino meanwhile, he cooms, but he also does it like maliciously. It's a malicious coom he does. Because all throughout this match, I like this match. It's fine enough, as in
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I
thought it.
Simple Luscious feels like
poor.
Simple Luscious is a couple paces behind Sumia, and but I think it's redeemed by Sumia does the Mongolian chops, That's fucking great. I went crazy at that, and it goes well enough. But the whole time, Steve Carino was just just groveling over this shit. It's saying oh, I'm gonna need a break after this match so I can come. It's just utterly disgraceful shit. And at one point, Christopher Daniels is on the outside. He's like, "Come on, you're into prophecy now. Let's go." And if I was be told that, I would just sit down and die. And it appears that Simple Luscious shares in this because she gets killed by a moonsault, and then Sumia wins, and Scoot gets in the ring again, and they raise hands together. It's quite beautiful, Scoot, he lost the battle, but he won the war.
Okay. Well, I had very different thoughts. I just put, this is a bad match with worse commentary. Simply Luscious can barely take a body slam. Steve Carino is a
It's true, isn't it? She can barely take a body
slam. Moonsault sucks. Yeah.
Simply Luscious
one of the easiest things to take.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve Carino.
Yeah, I thought this sucks, but fair enough if you got something out of it. Yeah, I'm glad you gave me a bit of context on Sumi Sakai, because I've always thought her presence is quite bizarre. She's always come off as a bit bland to me, and I guess the most notable thing about her is that she's been living in the United States and working there instead of Japan for 17 years now. So
she also studied
I've always
judo,
I've always wondered if well,
yeah,
she was alright on Bloodsport. I'll give her that. I've always wondered if people ever see her advertised on a show and think, one of those Joshi Puro Wrestle imports I've heard so much about, and then they watch them and they're like, huh. She doesn't seem shit, just a bit bland, and I can imagine her underwhelming a lot of people.
To me, her skill set seemed as if she had a really good trainer, which she did. Yokota and Asuka, they would be good trainers. I think it's something where one of those matches where I suppose you can one can recognize that, but also I suppose you can't really say the match is good because a few paces behind is a bit kind as far as Simple Luscious goes. She's really bad.
Yeah.
Sumi Sakai, at first I thought she was a weirdo, but then bizarre rather. But then you learn that she loves Sabu, so she's our type of bizarre. It's great.
Sure.
Good
I'm not outright shitting on Sumi Sakai. I just
sure.
I just think this match sucked, and I was curious about Sumi Sakai, so I looked up her Strigger page and I found a Wrestling Stats 1 review. So
me too.
I read it out.
Me too. You too.
Yes.
Read it.
Right. Right. 6.0. Assets. Has remained a dedicated and loyal professional wrestler well beyond the point most women remain in ring. Can serve as a backstage mentor for younger talent. Has capably served as a women's champion for minor and independent promotions. Flaws. Was long in the tooth by the time she had her most notable run in North America, which didn't connect with a notable segment of fans. Doesn't have great entertainment skills. starting to fade as an in-ring performer. Career potential. Notable minor league women's wrestler. So there you have it, folks. That's the gospel on Sumi Sakai. I like how he pointed out she's a women's wrestler.
The way in which Wrestling Stats 1, he always he's like fucking he really adopts the role of Saint Peter, doesn't he? So like, these people have died and they're up to heaven now. He's judging their entire lives. Just like
Yeah, I had a look at our man Stats' profile, right? Because I was like, right, I'm digging into the Wrestling Stats 1. Like, he doesn't rate shows or matches. He only rates promotions and people in wrestling.
Motherfucker.
So I was curious to see if he's ever written, if he ever drops the format and just writes an angry review. So I looked at his most negative ratings.
Right.
There's 2 people that he rated as 0. Rob Feinstein and Bubba the Love Sponge.
Oh.
There is still no feeling or emotion put into either of you.
Oh.
For Feinstein, he writes, his career potential is successful businessman, but failed promoter and personality. And Bubba the Love Sponge's career potential. Bubba the Love Sponge's career potential is none. Presence too detrimental to wrestling to warrant consideration.
What the fuck?
Damn, dude, calm down. Your sheer passion is overwhelming me.
No,
Connor, mate, is Wrestling Stats 1 deuce? The evidence has been stacking up in my mind for a while.
I don't know. Sometimes just pretends to have emotions. So, yeah, it's funny you bring up the promotions thing, because I think that's a similarly fucking stupid thing. Similar to saying oh, I'm going to judge this entire person, when you're judging an entire promotion, it's stupid. And the thing that revealed this to me was this one cage match review that Teddy shared with me of All Japan, where someone reviewed it, and they were like,
imagine reviewing fucking almost 50 years of a promotion.
Almost 50 years, yeah. And
within a few sentences.
And the guy was like, it's this is a paraphrase. So he's like, it's hard for me to judge All Japan as a promotion, from the old days where it was the best wrestling ever to the post Misawa days where they became a stagnant company. Thus, I cannot give a rating.
Why did you fucking bother saying shit then? Stricker, sort your boys out. They are misbehaving.
Stricker!
Stricker, fucking hell, man. You've got to sort this shit out. You can't just stand by and let this happen. What the fuck?
You stood by for too long, Stricker.
So,
and then
so that whole segment that we just took fucking maybe 20 minutes talking on, that probably lasted 5 minutes. So.
yeah. And then so we get on to the next thing, which is it's the magician's back again. It's Jerry Lynn versus AJ Styles, right? And did you like this pre-match video package?
Well, there's a sick riff in the preview for it, much like those that can be found over at Relapse.com.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Check it out. Anal cunt. You a fan of Anal Cunt?
I'm probably going to be a fan of that album that Teddy showed me today, but I don't know. The jury's out on Anal Cunt.
Yeah, I think I listened to a bit of their stuff. They're a band I've known about for ages, because they just have song titles where it's I'm gonna kill your daughter or some shit.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I can't say I'm a grind person particularly.
What's that? Cannibal Corpse, is that grind or?
Yeah, they'd be grindcore. My mum's been out with a few metalheads, so, so I know this stuff.
I see. It this fucked up head, he'll do covers of like, oh my god, is she easy to get her pussy, but she has no pussy because her half her body is dissected. Wow, amazing.
Yeah, they have such imaginations, these people.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Gabe, he has imagination too, because in this pre-match package, he recognizes that AJ and Jerry Lynn, they're passing across before, but now it is for the it is for the Irish title. So, you know, Jerry Lynn, he comes out.
I've been waiting for this time to come.
And, you know, he's like there, slapping them hands. AJ comes out, he looks traumatized.
He does a bit.
Yeah. Now, you may have said that Relapse.com was the first instance of sponsorship in Ring of Honor. However, this is this is not a mountain they will be atop alone for too long, because we get another sponsorship thing, another advertisement. What is this?
I didn't take note of this.
Ah, yes, you probably weren't listening to the commentary. Anyway, Stephen Carino makes direct reference to their previous battles at NWA TNA, which he says you can watch on Wednesday nights on your pay-per-view provider or whatever the fuck. And
right, yeah. So at this moment, it looks like ROH and TNA seem to have a good working relationship. I'm sure that will last.
Yeah, it was quite weird for me to see this. And then like this segues further into an art video plug, you know, and I made reference to it before, but I'll fucking say it again because this fucking like just like made me go nuts. Was when they were saying, Steve Carino was saying like, you know, oh, look at this, Donnie B, 4,500 videotapes. And then Donnie B, he goes, 4,500 videotapes, I see Jerry Lynn does 4,500 wrestling holds. And you know what? You know what is occurring while Donnie B is saying this? Is that Jerry Lynn and AJ, they both fuck up a Japanese arm drag. Man.
Yeah, so I was in bad mood for this match. Because of, you know, what I'd just watched, you know, picking up the show again at Christopher Daniels as Scoot Andrews was bad, and and the timing was even worse. It seemed like it could have been a match I could have seen some things in if I wasn't in such a shit mood. But yeah, I didn't really get anything out of it. Yeah, I kept looking at the timer on the video and wondering how the fuck I'm not even halfway through this fucking show yet.
Yeah, I wondered that a lot myself, actually. Yeah, it's quite crazy how they made all that time be filled by this Ring of Honor action. If you want to talk about the TNA relationship, Carino, he bigs them up a bit more because he says that TNA is a real deal and a hard place to work. That's another thing they always bring up, you know. First off, it was like, you know, I was just like, oh, the car ride over, you know, that's really hard. But then it's just like, oh, this place is a piece of shit to work for. And that's how you know it's good or whatever. So it's like, oh, I know it's a hard place to work because I know from experience. Then there's another thing which made me just go, fuck! Which was that Donnie B was making reference to the Total Nonstop Action X division, in which Jerry Lynn and AJ Styles both compete as main event stars. So he's talking about X division. Meanwhile, Jerry Lynn, he's doing a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, right? I know what a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker is. You know what a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker is. So Donnie B, he's just going on about X division, and like he sees this happen. He says, and X marks a spot, and that spot is the middle of the ring where Jerry Lynn planted him with that side suplex powerbomb variation.
Oh.
So not only
suplex powerbomb variation.
Not only do you
I mean, I'm not the best with moves, but and that's not quite as bad as calling a fucking spiral tap a suplex. but
I mean, yeah, like this is not only an atrocious segue, but it's also like a reminder once again that Donny B sometimes he just doesn't fucking know what wrestling moves are.
well, yeah, but he makes a comment later on, and he says like, "I don't really like watching wrestling tapes. Like, I just fast forward them. Like, why the fuck are you even here, bro?" I truly cannot comprehend like how he managed to get this. So, did he mention it? I'm skipping forward to like commentary lines here, but fuck it. Like, does he mention that he's like Nova's brother? Nova,
yeah, and I have a lot to talk about that, so we'll leave that to later. But
okay.
I just love that line that you mentioned there, because it's like that's in service of promoting live attendance, as in like Carino multiple times he's like, watching tape that's fine, but you gotta be here. The experience at Ring of Honor's unreal, and so that's fine enough, right? But then Donny B, he'll just be like, he'll just like, basically say like, man, you're a fucking idiot for watching on tape. Because I just skip for this shit. There's another fucking contradiction here in like the Code of Honor. One of the things that they like really like hammer down on this show even is the whole thing about referees. Basically, they're saying like, take the referees seriously. They're doing their jobs. They are unbiased referees. Don't argue with them. They're not trying to screw you over. They're just doing their jobs, right? So basically, that's meant to be that like if you complain to the referee, you're making a strategic mistake. You're being rude to an official. So you're just being a motherfucker, right? Breaking the Code of Honor. Now, Jerry Lynn does nothing, right? he does absolutely. He's not doing anything, right? But then, like Steve is like, oh well, Jerry Lynn might have distrust in this referee, and excuse him for that because for 15 years, the promoters, the bookers, the referees, he's been held down by them. So apparently, if you feel as if you've been wronged by the referee, then it's okay to say the referee wronged you. Piece of shit.
Well, yeah, there's so many of these things that I didn't even know. Like partly because I'm tuning them out, and partly because like I'm a human being. I can't put it all down.
Yeah.
Like every instance of just like pure fucking dreck commentary.
Meanwhile, I'm a machine, which is why I was able to note down that AJ, he puts Jerry Lynn's head betwixt his thighs, rests his ballsack on the head, right? It's got him in position for a Styles Clash. And then he yells, Styles Clash! And then Steve Carino goes, what's he going for? So, yeah, and then there's a lot of like counts, like you do roll up shit and all that. And, there's like something here which like really illustrates the problem, which is like, that they say, oh, these first event matches, they could be main event matches anywhere in the country. And like, why is that something to be like bragging about? You know what I mean? The whole thing of treating wrestling as if it's like a EWR game, where you just have to worry about, let's make sure every match rating is 100 or something like that, right? Instead of like a presentation of like people performances, which is aptly paced, like it just seems like stupid to not just like embody that, just like even without mentioning it, but then also mentioning it on top. It just furthers this like masturbatory nature, just like of like a Mark's wet dream, and just like it's such a nightmare.
Yeah, so I was in a bit of a funk, I guess, for this match, and one thing that I did note here that was AJ, he hits the Spire attack, right?
Yes.
And wow, Donny B
Yes.
is self-aware after calling that move a fucking suplex on the last show. Goes, that looks like a twisting senton to me. I know you're surprised I knew that. Ha ha.
No, hey, I don't think you're doing it proper justice, because Donny B, he shows off his capability as just a fucking robot, right? Because Stephen Carino, he sees a spiral tap happen and he goes, "What do you even call that?" Right? And then without a fucking pause, just like instantly, Donny B just like, "I call it a twisting senton, Steve, and I bet you're surprised I knew that name, haha." Just like utterly like scary shit. Like if I was Steve Carino, I'd be thinking, man, this guy's going to kill me. And then AJ hits a steel clash and he wins. So that's cool. Then they shake hands. Wow.
I don't even know whether this match was bad or good. I just wasn't in the fucking mood.
Similar to other Jerry Lynn matches, it just feels as if like one of those matches that does like I suppose in a way it does everything right, but just like like none of his stuff is really notable. It's not really like sticking in my mind.
Jerry Lynn is thought of very fondly, isn't he? I don't have like, oh fuck you, Jerry Lynn, but I don't have any feelings like that. But
I mean, neither do I. It's just
he's like the definition of solid, and maybe sometimes he has something that which is like borderline great or really good, whatever.
Perhaps it is in the state of being so solid that one becomes liquid. But yeah, like I said, like every single time I see him outside of the ring, he seems like a really nice guy. Like I would have beer with him and listen to the stuff we bought from Meelups.com on his headphones. But
yeah.
But it's just, I don't know, that wrestling is not doing it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he has better stuff than this match, and the Justice Payne match that we saw, and the Trent Acid one. I'm sure he has more notes.
We're just got to keep adding stuff to this list, aren't we? Anyway, we get to next segment.
Oh, this is a hell of a segment. This kind of got me sort of, at least, out of a bad mood temporarily. Dunn E. Marcos are in the ring.
Yeah.
They say they're the top tag team in Ring of Honor. And then the Hit Squad, they come and batter them. These guys, Dunn and Marcus, they get fucking creamed. Suplex right on their presumably straight heads. And one of them takes a chop to the face, which in my book is like one of the raddest things that you could do in wrestling. A chop to the fucking face, bitch.
Hit Squads, they'll be like, no, we are the top tag team in the Ring of Honor. But then, who comes out to challenge them?
Divine Storm. They just fucking materialise. There's lots of weird cuts in this segment.
It's true, yeah, that's right. Aye.
Very strange. And oh my god, Quiet Storm is going absolutely Robbo on the stick.
Ah, it was so unbelievable. Like he's just,
yeah.
Like
I've never seen anything like this from him. He's screaming at them. Like, he mocks how the Hit Squad, he keeps saying they're the hardest hitting tag team. And he says, "You ain't shit!
You ain't shit!"
Hit Squad they just look flabbergasted by this.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Holy shit, these guys are like 5'5". They're telling me I ain't shit. Oh my god, I'm almost intimidated.
That is exactly the thing about it. It's like the Hit Squad, they have this angry look on their faces, right? But they also just look confused, as in like they barely knew like this guy was able to yell, and now he's telling their motherfuckers and all that. And like, yeah, I was just like, utterly.
I'm looking at Quiet Storm's face, and he's like breathing heavy, like, oh man, this guy's taking something. He's got brave.
Yeah, so like he was just already acting as if like he was just like a slab of beef, It's fucking great. You know?
He's prematurely got hot energy.
The spirit is always, yeah. Okay, so then SCT come out. There's no fisticuffs that really happen. SCT just come out, and they're also like, "Hey, what are you talking about? We're a top team Ring of Honor." So then they just have this match. Well, it's not really a match, but it's just like it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
And
I feel like they're obviously trying to build to like a future tag team championship.
Yes.
With this whole thing. So like these three teams, they start fighting, but rather than it being a brawl, like for some reason, Divine Storm and the SA2 doing fucking frogs and arm drags to each other for fuck's sake.
See, that's what I was thinking. It's like I was ready to put it down as a brawl, but then you start just like working a match, you know. So it's a bit weird in that way.
They start hitting dives on each other, and then YMCA plays to a huge fucking pop.
Yeah, it does.
Man, I've said that the Hit Squad and the Christopher Street Connection shouldn't be anywhere near each other anymore, but I laughed hard at this, and I needed this fucking... I needed the chicanery.
Chicanery!
But the fun, it didn't last too long, because then the natural born sinners come down and interrupt the Christopher Street Connection's their little make-out sesh that they got going on.
Yeah.
And the commentary's all like, oh, thank God. And Alison Danger, she came out with the Christopher Street Connection. So naturally, the sinners expose her thong and slap her ass. Gabe busted a fat nut watching this.
Oh, wow.
Fat with a PH and nut with 2 T's.
So, you know, during the brawl part, Donny B, he's very, you know, astounded at the profanity, the obscenity that Quiet Storm uttered, right? He makes a point of saying that, like, you know, this is the first time we've really heard, like, you know, such obscenity in Ring of Honor. And, you know, the first thing I thought was just that, you know, we've heard, like, faggot be used before, we've had homophobic language. And I had this thought in my head where I just imagined Donny B replying, well, no, I don't consider gays human, Steve. And then I thought, I am being too cruel to Donny B. Why would I presume such cruelty of him? And then Christopher Street Connection come out, and then while they're getting beat up, he just like calls them like Fruit Loops, just like so hatefully. And then Steve Corino, he like with such bloodthirst in his voice, he says, get the girl," about Alison Danger, right? And then, in the most awkward fucking thing ever, Donny B goes, well, you'll have to be specific there, Steve. After all, the Christopher Street Connection are girls too, on account of their homosexuality. So I thought, yeah, he probably doesn't see gays as people. Okay. First ever obscenity in Ring of Honor.
So, that's the sinners who have run out. And
well, yeah, you missed something important in your apparent skip ahead, because...
for fuck's sake, what else could there possibly be?
Natural Born Sinners in the Hit Squad, they have dissension in their ranks. At first they seem cool, but then they get into a war of words, and they are just like not with each other anymore.
You're missing something out. Los Carnage crew come out.
Fucking Carnage crew. Why'd you have to remind me HC Look exist again?
They run out to huge booze.
Yeah, they do.
So they really must have shat the bed on whatever happened in that second show that wasn't on tape.
Yeah, they did. And
they are hated. It doesn't even seem like heroes. It seems like, fuck off, we don't see these guys.
Like, we know how Ring of Honor reacts to heels, so, you know, we can take this as hatred. So they get dispatched too, and like Sinners and Hit Squads, they like seem to not be on the same page anymore, right? You know, so then they go to the back. Low Key is there, and what he asks is, "Oh, what's that all about?" What happened? So, it's the Sinners to come first, and then they respond to Loki with something or other. And then the Hit Squad, they come there, and then Loki similarly is like just like wanting answers. And then Hit Squad, they seem to think that, I don't know, fame has gotten to Homicide's head or something like that, right? So they go down to confront them. Loki follows, the camera follows as well, but then Loki's like, whoa, this is family business. And then he walks off. This is a 5-minute fair for Loki and Cole.
So the Sinners and the Hit Squad, they're both Jersey crew, and you know they helped each other out there. The Hit Squad saved the Sinners from the beatdown from the Carnage crew, but it's when Hit Squad, they get on the mic and they say they're the best tag team in Ring of Honor, and this touches a nerve with the sinners. Homicide takes Das Dick. And it cuts out on him for a sec, so he hits himself in the head with it, and that worked somehow. So yeah, there's dissension with the Jersey All Pro crew here.
I hate every single storyline in pro wrestling based off like, oh, like you said this little thing. I am mad now. We are feuding. It's bullshit. Jody Fleisch versus Spanky.
We're into the semi-finals now. This match starts pleasant, if not all that notable. But shit. Fleisch, he does a springboard moonsault to the outside, yeah, from forward-facing position. So he twists around while on the top rope, and his legs absolutely crash into that barricade, crumple that little fence all up. They even show a replay of that shit. You don't get many replays in these shows. Spanky hits sliced bread number 2 for Darwin. So Spanky, first finalist confirmed for the Iron Man match at crowning a champion.
Piece of shit.
What?
Damn it. Jody lost, what the fuck?
Hey, are you furious at this?
Eva.
Much like Arnold?
Hey, I was about to say, oh, you can just call me Arnold, but then you...
Were you mad that Jody didn't win?
Well, I'd have liked it if he won, because he does that like big thing where he like just like murks the guardrail, you know, and
yeah.
It looks fucking like amazing. And then he like is still walking afterwards, and so it's just this thing like, oh wow, how did he do that? And so to follow up with him losing, it does feel a bit weird, He gets a taste of his own medicine after like destroying Ruckus's chances.
Yeah, I suppose he does. And they do Code of Honor, and that's why we love pro wrestling.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Doug Williams.
So yeah, short little match. I thought it was quite nice. Not all that notable.
No.
Yeah.
Doug Williams.
Yes.
Versus
Doug Williams taking on American Dragon.
The first thing that happens in this match is a really snappy waistlock takedown. It's almost like a Saito suplex, and I like that. I like on a different level that's the fucking like credentials of both men are brought up, and just the whole hilarity of first you bring up that they are experienced in judo, karate, sambo. They have like championships in this. They've trained in it, and also they like to wrestle a combination of American and Japanese. It is a farce, much like the Code of Honor.
Yeah. They like to wrestle both American and Japanese. What does that mean, though? Can you say what that means? I don't think you can.
No, they can't say what it means, because to do so would like to be fucking saying that wrestling is fake. If you try and explain like, oh, Japanese wrestle a certain way, like without saying that like wrestling is fake, then it's a fool's errand, Eva. It's a fool's errand. Hate it. But
I mean, Donny B, he never even watches tape. So unless he's a regular sort of visitor to Japan, maybe you should shut the fuck up.
Man, Donny B just going to Butland shows. That's how he knows about Doug Williams.
Yeah.
I really like the chinlock bit here. Did you?
I can't remember it, but I liked pretty much all this match. I thought it was very cool. They built on what they produced together at the 2001 King of Indies.
Yeah.
This is where Donny B says that Nova's his brother. Says that he vouched for Doug Williams as the real deal.
Donny B is actually Don Bucci, and Don Bucci has done a lot of stuff that I would consider quite crucial to our whole thing. Is that he was the guy who ran Phoenix Championship Wrestling, and in this promotion, do you know which tag team he put together?
No.
Donny B was the one who created the Backseat Boys.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Trent Acid and Johnny
Wow.
Kashmir.
A single redeeming feature.
They got their start in PCW. That's how they got into CZW, was off the back of their work there. And PCW generally seems to be like an interesting promotion. It's one of those things where Wikipedia is like, oh, many people have said that PCW was the most exciting independent wrestling company. And, you know, I'm starting to think like, Tony B, is that you? So, you know. But it does seem like an interesting promotion. One of the things that
It's a bit like when I read Eric Gargiulo's wiki.
Yeah.
The section on the Camel Clutch blog is definitely written by him. Definitely.
Yeah, there's this one bit where like it was mentioning this match from this show from 2002 that was main evented by K-Quick, who at the time was employed by WWF still. And he was against Chris Hamrick, who apparently was employed by TNA. So, you know, WWF versus TNA, like back in 2002, that was Donny B's doing. So I also looked up, like, research into like a bit of an interview. Now the thing about this is that the citation that had on Wikipedia was to a 411 Mania article that does not exist anymore. So I attempted to get like more like juicy quotes out of it, but this is all I could get. Was that the inspiration for creating a PCW? Donny B attributed it to watching all the other bad indies out there, especially in this area. I was tired of seeing the people get ripped off. And at this time, I also wish to bring up another thing I found when looking up Donny B, Don Bucci, whatever you want to call him. I was trying to look him up because he doesn't have that much of a footprint on the internet, you know. So I went to this link that Google sent me to, the Voices of Wrestling forums. I was put to this thread, posted on the boards, entitled Donny B, posted by user Supersonic. Now, this has one page, and in fact one post. No one replied to this, right? It's just this one post on its own. So the subject line is Donny B. And the text says, "Goat commentator, enough said."
Good commentator, enough said.
Goat, GOAT.
Goat. Oh. Wow. I knew that the people over at Voices of Wrestling were pretty fucked up, but that's taking it to new levels.
It's something when, like, not even, like, you know, Rich Christ or whatever can't respond to your post being like, I agree. They just, like, let that just stand on its own, you know? That's like, you know, when, like, you know, the internet is just, like, you know, crumbled as far as an empire goes, and, you know, someone happens upon the veritable Ozymandias statue. That's going to be the Ozymandias statue. Donny B, got commentator enough said. So, yeah. Donny B, an important figure as it turns out. I reached a point where, I suppose like you, I decided to not cover every single, like, egregious thing, but I just decided to still preserve, like, my reaction to, like, some stuff that was said. And in this case, it was like, oh my fucking god.
Nice match, though. Nice match.
A great match. I love this. Yeah.
Dragon, he manages to kick out the Chaos Fury. Doug manages to catch him in a pinning combo for a minor upset.
Yeah.
Boy, mate, we could have a British inaugural ROH champ. I bloody well hope so.
The British invasion in ROH has made it to the finals. Prelude to, like, the TNA stable that would set the world on fire. I really loved, like, the whole idea of, like, you know, a good pin was able to do it, you know. Like, he just cravated Bryan down and then just held him there. Turns out that's all you need for the 1, 2, 3 count very good match.
Yeah, these two are brilliant, and you shouldn't expect anything less than a really good match.
Yeah, I think this is the part where, like, you know, you see Doug Williams and, like, his, you know, like, his Torture side come out, you know, like, so that he voiced Torture. What about you? Where, like, you know, he can just, like, stretch, like, dudes and, like, use his size and, like, his technique in conjunction with one another to inflict, like, some cool pain on people. And Brian does well to get hurt a lot, so that's good. Great match. And then we move on to some other match.
Yeah, we move on to Amazing Red versus Low Ki. I fucking needed this. We just had a good match, a really good match. But I was, you know, this is what I was looking forward to about this show.
Yeah.
Watching this one back, a legendary match. Crowd is chanting, "You killed Nana," at Low Ki.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. It's the first.
So I've mentioned this opening minute before. I can't remember what exact episode it was on, but it is my single favourite. They do lots of fast stuff and are at a stalemate and do a standoff ever.
Yeah.
And I can't see it being topped. It owns so much, and the crowd just starts going insane for what they do. Every fucking thing makes sense. It looks like an attempt to hurt the opponent rather than just being a wanky showcase of athleticism. I adore it.
I think it gives you, like, an idea as to why that is. Why it is that no other wrestling sort of thing of, like, stalematery can, like, you know, surpass it. It's because Loki, we said it before, he doesn't approach wrestling like it's pro wrestling. He approaches it like it's a martial arts movie, you know. This is just like some, like, fucking Donnie Yen shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's just fucking great. And that's the reason how it is. It's because, like, it's the perfect balance of, like, choreography and legitimate technique, just, like, the perfect amount of, like style to it, that everything just looks so cool, everything just looks so painful, it all looks so intense, just like the perfect stuff. And, like, you can see it just like in it, like, just in, like, the inherent, like, fucking pace of, like, you know, normal wrestling that tries to do that, where you're just going, like, very slow compared to fucking Low Ki, who's just, like, doing all this shit so fast. And just, like, you know, it really does come down to just, like, he looks at this shit differently, you know. He's fucking different, you know, and that's why he's one of the best ever. And just yeah, like, most things in this match just, like, made me go nuts, you know. Like, so I won't go through all of it, but fucking loved when Low Ki, he goes up top and, like, you know, he just, like, has a moment to himself where he thinks, okay, I'm going to do this now. You know, he makes peace with himself. If he dies before he wakes, then so be it. He goes for the Phoenix Splash. Red moves out the way, and he just rolls onto his feet again. And then Caveman SpongeBob's it. Hits him with it. And that was so cool.
Yeah. You know what you said about Low Ki not approaching it like it's pro wrestling? Reminded me of this guy who's on, like, Scuzzy Deathmatch Indies right now, called Shatu Jin.
Yes.
Who he says, I've not grown up wanting to main event WrestleMania. I got into pro wrestling to be an anime.
Yeah.
Specifically Dragon Ball Z character.
Aye.
And, like, good for you, man. I don't really know what that shit is, but good for you.
Yeah, like,
Carino,
like,
after this opening minute, Carino has one of his only good commentary calls ever. He says, like, that was like movie magic, and he's correct.
Yeah, like, if there wasn't a crowd there, you'd think it was, like, you know, just, like, took, like, 3 takes, you know.
Yeah, and Red, after a little bit, he takes off his do-rag. He means fucking business.
Yeah, his, like, fucking ridiculous hair. He should get that cut. Yeah. Like, it's, like, this is the thing about Amazing Red, is, like, you know, it's hard to, like, you know, put 2 and 2 together as far as, like, you know, young Red is the same as, like, the old Red, you know. Like, it's, like, he has, like, such, like, a boyish face. He looks like fucking, It looks like Marty McFly's mom is what it looks like, you know? and like also his hair is just like so like, you know, floppy and all that. And meanwhile Amazing Red and like, you know, now, like he just looks like a different person.
Yeah. It's got some strange stuff going on here, but
yeah.
I can't diss him for it. He's doing him.
It's true, he's doing him. So yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff that happens. I just like appreciate so much, you know, like just like everything is great. And like then soon Loki's able to win this battle, you know, to the death, fatality, and he does an avalanche key crusher, and he wins it. And you know, I'm on such a high from this match. You know, it's just like once again, somehow in this like despair, this pit of despair, Loki pulls out just like perfect pro wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so happy, but then I am brought to sobering reality by a thought. Oh no, Christopher Daniels be very mad at Amazing Red.
Oh no. But yeah, you're totally right. Like even on a show where we're shitting on a lot of the show, but it does have on paper a few more good matches than usual in Ring of Honor. But it's still the case that there's everything else, and then there's the motherfucking Loki match.
Yeah, it's true.
Low fucking key. This match might have been even better than I remembered it being. Like, I think when I watched this the first time, the opening minute might have overwhelmed the rest of it in my memory. On, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the bit I remember, but it's brilliant all the way through, and I think this might be the second favourite match that we've covered so far after like on everything after Dragon. This is key. I'm keeping a top 10, right? Because I want to do something at the end of a year when we finish 2002, and like the top 5 is all Loki.
Well, what I've got planned is like at some point I'm just going to make a list of every single match we've covered and then start ranking it. That's going to be the limit to which I rank shit now. That's all I'm going to do. It's just Amazing Red. He's disappointed Christopher Daniels. So, you know, overall just like a terrible match because, damn it, he didn't please Christopher Daniels. How am I supposed to enjoy this now? But yeah, so Amazing Red and Loki, they do the Code of Honor. Once again, Loki, he validates the Code of Honor because it just seems like, you know, these two warriors, they see each other's value, and like in a moment of you know, vulnerability, in a moment of like acceptance, they just shake hands and, you know, go off in their separate ways. This is the way of the warrior, you know. And then Amazing Red's in the ring. Brian XL comes out.
Yeah, I definitely didn't remember this bit.
Yeah, they never mentioned that in the JS, did they? The top heel in Ring of Honor, Brian XL, and, you know, Michael Whipwreck made that comment about him being Bow Wow, and, you know, like, it was...
Yeah, it's caught on with the crowd.
It's caught on. It's like, it was kind of funny, but also a bit like, you know, and now, like, they're literally just like...
Yeah, and then Donny B, he adds to the by saying that he's a nappy-headed goof.
Yeah, Donny B just being racist.
Don't do that, man.
Absolutely. That. It's terrible. But, like, Brian XL, he gets on the mic, and I can't understand what he's saying. But then soon, like, he, like, does a fancy kick to Red, and then, like, just, like, tries to do this, like, this is really funny to me that, like, you know, Brian XL, he's so focused on being a high flyer that, like, his way of, like, fighting someone, so just, like, you know, beating someone up is just, like, I'm going to do a flip. So, you know, what happens is he tries to do some like fancy move or whatever, but then SAT come out and they Spanish fly the Brian XL, and then they save Red, and Red, he has proven himself to the fans. Chico.
Yeah.
Oh, and then also Johnny B has a stroke.
He has a stroke.
Oh yeah, because like Brian Excel like gets killed by the Spanish Fly, and then like Donny Beans goes, "Bow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay."
Oh dear.
Oh dear, indeed. So then, what do we see next?
Now we get a Natural Born Sinners promo. It's not particularly notable, but they'll be fighting Los Carnage Crew on the next show, and Homicide is funny to listen to. It's just the way they speak.
Yeah, it really is. Just like him going before and all that, and then he says regarding Carnage Crew, he said we gonna kill you, and after that, shit gonna hit the fan. Like he laughs very nervously. So yeah, Bunkhouse Brawl for 27th July. Wow. And then it's time for the main event, the last finalist decision match. AJ Styles versus...
Yeah, well, it seems like it's time for that, because we see the entrance of Christopher Daniels.
Oh.
Then it cuts back to another backstage scene.
Yeah.
With Brian XL, he's like shouting at the SAT, he's like, what the hell went on out there? And the SAT basically telling him to piss off because it's been a liability for weeks now. And he storms off in a strop.
Yeah.
Quiet Storm says he's a bitch.
Yeah, I was so fucking amazed by that. Just that like someone recognized that was a verbal thing of his, and then turned it against him. Just like, you're nothing but a bitch, man. Disrespectful. like Quiet Storm too. He seems to still be in like confronting Hit Squad mode, because like Brian Axel comes up to them and like Storm just like stirs him, like just like just like constipated. So the first thing that we really hear in this match, once everyone's here, is that Donny Beast making an announcement. After this match, he's going down to the ring. He's going to get that mic and he's going to say some stuff. Oh, wow.
Oh, man. This is going to be an epic announcement, I'm sure.
Indeed. He doesn't tell Carino. Carino wants to know, but, he's like, oh, loose lips, Carino sinks ships. So, that's that.
Now AJ and Daniels are actually in the ring. Donny B says, this is a dream match. A match people dream of. Yes. Yes, that is the definition of a dream match. Donny. Well done. You got something right.
Oh no. So I think that at a certain point, like, AJ is good in this match because like Daniels will be trying to do a bunch of stuff, doing like, La Casitas and all that, which usually require like the person to be a bit like inactive during the time that they're getting La Casitaed. But like, AJ will just like shut him down during those times, and that's good. There's a certain point where another announcement is made by Donny B, but not the big one, just a smaller one, where he says that in like the show after the next show, AJ versus Loki happening again, and they note that this could mean, depending on the title results, that could be for the Ring of Honor title. And wowee, wouldn't that be a sweet time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This match was, whatever to me. Carino says Daniels is pound for pound the greatest wrestler in the world today. You just watch Loki, asshole.
Yeah.
You motherfucker.
It's quite true.
You just watch Loki.
Yeah. Like, it's terrible pacing in the show to have Christopher Daniels show you exactly how like fucking sluggish pro wrestlers can be when they're like trying to do fucking pro wrestling rather than just doing like fucking like martial arts movie like Cool People,
Yeah. So yeah, this match just happens for a long time. They did moves and I looked at the moves. But Styles he goes face first into guardrail and there's some very welcome blood, but it doesn't last very long. Well, I say blood, Donny B prefers to describe it. He's using that life-giving plasma, that red crimson. So first he says plasma, which is a different thing entirely to blood.
Yes.
And then he fucking says two colours. This guy's an idiot. This guy's an idiot.
Christopher Daniels, what was that? Red crimson, full stop. And you know what? This isn't the only thing at play here against AJ Styles, because guess what? The venue, it's about 100 degrees here. It's warm. That'll work against AJ Styles too.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently. So Christopher Daniels, you know, he is a big heel, so he takes...
Does AJ Styles live in, like, the South Pole or something?
Yeah, Donny B just misunderstood.
He's not used to these warm times.
Donny B just misunderstood what was meant by South. yeah, he was just sort of like, oh, I don't know, Steve. AJ, he must hang around polar bears all the time. But so Christopher Daniels, he sees the blood and he takes advantage of it. He makes the eyes, he makes the face, he does all this stuff, he punches a lot, and you know, they start observing Christopher Daniels' countenance during this time. It's almost as if he takes pleasure in dishing out this pain, as if he enjoys it. Donny B says that he looks like a clown at a kiddie birthday party, but meanwhile me, I say he looks like a clown that had just one bad day. That's right, the Joker. Yeah.
So AJ's blade job, it's only okay, isn't it? It's most of the blood gets sort of sweated away, and it feels like the match doesn't become as engaging as it perhaps could be with a bit more of that red crimson. But I mean, I know the first pay-per-view I ever watched was Judgment Day 2004 with that fucking Eddie versus JBL match. So I can accept that my standards have been warped. But yeah, AJ, you need to scratch a bit harder, man. Scratch the head a bit harder.
There's a really promising splatter of blood, like at first, like not a splatter, but like a drip, you know, like you see like the drip on like the floor and like his arm and all that, and it seems good. And like I think that it does, as in look good, as in like in like the post match when he's just like, you know, you're just looking at him talking, it looks quite vivid, you know, the like blood, but it just doesn't really translate well to emotion, I suppose. The whole thing of like Loki versus Daniels is brought up because, as you know, Loki is making sure that Christopher Daniels is not going to win the Ring of Honor title. So the way they word it is to say the only way he's winning is over the dead body of Loki. And so Donny B would not be surprised if Daniel indeed had to destroy and kill Loki in this match. So there you go. That's his prediction. Loki will die. So then this match ends with the last rites, you know, the Crossroads, which is the last rites of Daniels, you know. It's fucking bullshit. It didn't really feel as if Daniels should have won. Then again, it never feels as if he should have won, because you know the skill level, like way below everyone else, even the bad people. So you know, it just always feels like bullshit. And then Donny B, he finally gets to the ring. He's gonna give an announcement. Then what does this bastard, this fallen angel, do?
He keeps interrupting this amazing announcement.
Ah.
How dare he? Until Spanky comes and kicks his ass, basically. Donny B, he eventually gets to announce that Ring of Honor High Impact TV will be starting on a local channel in September. I'm sure that will go brilliantly and last more than like 6 episodes.
WGTW 48 September, you know. If you got that on your local cable provider, get on that shit. So then this weird thing happens where seemingly it's like, you know, this like ceremonial thing, you know, where all 4 guys, all 4 finalists are out there and the ref is there He's got the belt, the Ring of Honor belt, in his shroud. You know, it's in like a bag of some sort or whatever. And it seems as if he's just going to reveal it. But then Christopher Daniels, you know, such a man of hubris, such a man of bullshit. He's like, oh, well, we already know that I am winning, so why don't you just give me it now? You know, just like, man, if I had, you know, a mind or two, I would, you know, and then they get to like just like beating up each other, and then Loki, he just fucking destroys Christopher Daniels. He gets him in the key clutch, and they just don't let go.
Yeah, I was gonna write that he goes Robbo on him, but no, he goes fucking Loki on him.
Wow.
He just wrenches on the Stray Sleeper, and he won't let go. Loads of people rush down to try and like get him off, including the Hit Squad. Like Math's going to the other people like, "Stop! You're just making him angry." and then he leans into Loki, trying to be a friend. And this time he's like, "You gotta let him go, man. It's fucked up."
You're just making him angry. Loki's the best wrestler ever.
He really is.
Yeah. Man, I think that might be a proper conclusion to the arc of Robbo. It's just that we go to say something against Robbo, but then we just, no, this is Loki.
Yes. Fuck you, Robbo.
We'll never discuss him again.
Robbo, you didn't even tell me how you voted, and I know that you voted for it, you motherfucker.
Oh man, like that was so fucking funny.
You went straight from your Tommy rally. Your brother Tommy Robinson, and you went straight to the polling office and you voted for Boris Johnson. That's what you did. So fuck you.
Like just the whole thing of like him like posting about, oh, these fucking people won't fucking vote if we're going to talk about afterwards on Twitter. So he has the temerity to make such a post, right? But then when a basic question like, okay, who did you vote for, gets asked, he's like, oh, Potter wants to win. Piece of shit, Robbo. Fuck.
Yeah, and I had to reply, please answer me properly, Robbo. I need you to tell me what to think.
Maybe soon you'll answer.
You got to try have some fun with this mind-numbing shit.
So speaking of Tories, then we get to AJ Styles. He's backstage. He is still with blood. They zoom in very close on his face.
He's got more blood on his face than he did in the match. Did he blade again backstage? What the fuck?
That would be really cool if so. In any case, he is saying that, you know, like the NWA Wild Sad is coming. You know, he brings up some names.
Yeah, Adam Jacobs and David Young. I know David Young from like TNA when I watched that. I don't know much about NWA Wildside, but I'm quite intrigued by it. I've looked around for some of it, but I haven't had much luck. So if you got a plug for that, then feel free to drop us a DM. He also has a score settled with Daniels because Daniels didn't do handshake. Oof.
Oh well,
make so many enemies, Christopher Daniels.
He says as far as the Christopher Daniels match goes, regarding that, as far as that goes, like he just keeps going on like that. He says he didn't shake Daniels' hand. You know why? Because he's a professional. You know, goes back to that Andrew shit. You're not breaking the code of honor. If anything, you're doing the code of honor some justice by refusing to be honourable with one who is not honourable in return.
Some truly galaxy brain shit, isn't it?
Yeah. So then we move on from that. Rudy Boy, he is there. He is looking around for it's Simple Luscious he's looking for, right?
Yeah, he asks Biohazard. He's like, "You see Simply Luscious? Because I can't find her anywhere." Says no. And then that's the end of that segment.
Your one opportunity to do a Rudy Boy voice, and you knocked it out of the park. So yeah, and then we get this like very, very like gay porn acting segment with American Dragon and Spanky, because like Barry's just like sitting around, he's vaping, and then Spanky comes up and he's like, "Oh, hey," he's just being an asshole to him, and then like Barry gets up, he's like, "You know what? I may not be booked next month, but the month after that, have a you and me 2 out of 3 falls." And then Spanky's like, 2 or 3 falls, you're on. And he sucks his dick or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember. And then,
So, are you looking for that? Are you looking forward to that 2 out of 3 falls match, Connor?
yeah, like it probably should be good. Like, I do have this layer of skepticism now with like indie wrestling of this time, where in like stuff that's guaranteed to go along, they probably won't do it well. But I suppose I can trust them to do it well. So yeah.
Well, I have something to tell you. That match doesn't happen.
Oh.
I did think, I don't remember that match at all. And sure enough, Dragon faces Donovan Morgan on that show in a standard match instead.
Grave!
Maybe there's an excuse. Maybe Spanky got injured or fucking hit by a car or something. I don't know.
That'd be terrible if so. Man.
But imagine if they just forgot that they booked that.
Oh man.
So yeah, that match doesn't happen. But yeah, Spanky was very much rubbing it, and Dragon isn't. He says he guesses internet pause doesn't matter after all. Hey guys.
Gabe, is that you?
Yeah. Hi, what can I do for you today?
Gabe, you booked Fred versus Spanky 2 out of 3 falls on this show, but you didn't do it. Could you please tell me why?
Yeah, well, guys, circumstances change. You can't always predict what will happen in the great world of professional wrestling. Not sports entertainment, by the way.
You're right, Gabe. I'm sorry, Gabe. I won't speak against you again, Gabe.
It's okay. I forgive you. By the way, I love your podcast. I got into the Round Robin Challenge episode. And wow, I just thought it was brilliant.
Angry Gabe?
Don't disrespect the code of honor! Ah! Dangerous!
So...
Alright, man. Get out of here, Gabe. Go on, get out of my room. Get out of my room. Sorry, he's always coming in here. He doesn't even knock. He just walks in my room.
Oh, man. So...
I'm in a state of relative undress, Gabe. For God's sake.
So, so Brian and, Spanky do this really good twink scene, and then we get off of that, and more wrestling one, Then we see the Carnage Crew, right? They're doing Carnage Crew stuff, I don't care. And then, the last special of the show. So, what, oh my goodness. We are outside, it is night time. The camera has the night light on. And what is this? There are 2 people in the distance. They are cavorting. Who is that? I'm trying to make out the shape. As to get closer, I see the features solidify more. Wait a minute. Stephen Carino. He is smooching. He is making out with. Is that Simply Luscious?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, it's Simply Luscious. He's making out with her, and then he turns to the camera.
Well, the camera gets closer, yeah, and I thought Karina was about to say, get out of my face or something.
Yeah, it's like, oh no!
It just creeps up on him, but instead he just turns to him and goes, ha ha ha, thanks, Rudy boy.
And then he continues.
Yeah, and he just keeps making out like, okay, I didn't. Have they established any connection with Simply Luscious and Rudy Boy Gonzalez? I guess she's been trained. She's a TWA trainee then, right? They didn't tell us this, so we just had to figure it out.
Yeah, I would have to assume so. Yeah, and like it's quite strange because throughout the whole show, like Steven Carino will refer to Rudy Boy. He'd be like, that fat oaf, Rudy Boy Gonzalez, and then like Donnie be like, please, Steve, and then move on. So like that would infer that like they have heat in the back, right? But what possible relevance is it to Rudy Boy Gonzalez if his student is cavorting with Steven Carino? What possible reference could that have to his life?
Yeah, and this just happens out of the blue. Like, there is going to be a Steve Carino Rudy Boy feud that drags on now.
Is
that
there?
Happens. Yes.
Oh. Does Rudy Boy wrestle?
I think so.
Let's see. Ring of Honor.
Yeah, no, that was fucking Ring of Honor for you. This was definitely the most sittings that a show has taken me so far. I wouldn't say it's the worst show that we've watched so far, because I mean, I guess it is better than the other Ring of Honor shows because there is more good matches on it. When I talked previously about my memory of the show briefly, like, previewing this, I said I think I remember it being way more watchable than the other ROH shows, and I believe I was both right and wrong about this. Like, match-wise, way more consistent offering where things rarely go below decent. However, the commentary and the gaybisms, they do their best to make this tournament with like plenty of great guys in it such a fucking chore. It's an unreal achievement.
Yeah.
So I cannot in good conscience call any full ROH show of this period watchable, in case one of you actually goes out, finds it and fucking watches it expecting something watchable.
Yeah.
If you do go check out the show, you'll either have to just keep slapping yourself on the shoulder or play 3 hours of Boney M to be able to enjoy it fully.
It's quite true. That's both our techniques now. Yin and Yang, Boney M and Big Slappy.
I will say though, you've got to see Redless Loki. It's amazing.
It's true. Ring of Honor. That's probably the main discovery to make. Then is that people will have assumed that because of Ring of Honor's influence and due to like its serious wrestling style, that like it was just like the any sort of like horrors it had was like not very notable, or at least not as notable as like say like Ian Rotten or like whatnot. But really, it's worse than all of those promotions. Just like it's disgraceful in its bigotry, like way more so than just anything else, and just like how annoying the whole premise is and how like fucking terrible it is, like the way that they just like are so like fucking just like self-satisfied and just like pat themselves on the back about like we brought back the rope break and we hey Al, you may not see a headlock in a WWE match, but we're gonna see it here.
The tag rope
he called it the tag rope.
The fucking tag rope.
Why do they call it a tag rope, Eric? Because it's a tag rope. Bam! So, yeah, just like Ring of Honor, utterly terrible.
Yeah, this company sucks fucking dingleberry-infested ass at this point. Just bad presentation, like, although it's got some sick techno and good effects on it. And, some of the worst commentary I've heard. Just not a good product.
Not a good product whatsoever. And, it's just... Yeah, this is really something to be like viewed in like snippets and all that. I don't know if I like reached like some sort of like like Jim Fannin point with the commentary, where like this is the point where I started like finding it more funny than just like painful, but
nah, they're not really that. I mean, it's funny to take the piss out, but they're not that funny, are they? They're not funny. They're just like sad, small little men.
Well, that's the thing, It's like it's not as if it's like Jim Fannin, where like you realize his role in life, and you realize like that he bullies Mark Wolf because like he's mad about like a Xanax debts that's gone unpaid. Like it's not as charming. You just like see these people and they're fucking pathetic. It's not even like XPW where I swear I said the same thing, because like now I just am Larry Rivera. I just fucking say Chuck all the time, and like it's just like a new breed of just like piece of shittery, and so like I laugh at it, but it's still excruciating. Like it brings me pain sometimes to hear it.
Are you actively looking forward to Gabe coming on commentary, replacing Donny B?
No.
I think he's going to be more outwardly hilarious. But, so I mean, Donny B is so fucking bad that I'm just like, fuck it, bring on the Gabester. Bring on the Gabester. I think. Right, I'm just going to check right now when the Gabester comes on commentary. Unscripted in September. Chris Lovey, his alias was.
Oh,
Chris Lovey.
Piece of shit, Chris Lovey. That's right. Like
he can't admit he's Gabe Sapolsky, guys.
I like the idea that like
top secret.
Oh my god! So Donny B, he gets into announce that they're going on TV, right? It's a great thing, and then like, okay, we're on TV now. Donny B, die. Oh, he signed his own death warrant. Yeah, unbelievable. What a fitting end.
I don't think any of that. I don't think any of that TV is actually like available. So I might as well, get any notice on it out now. It went for 7 episodes. It mostly just showed, just sort of chopped up versions of the shows that we're already watching. But there is a strange. On the 7th and last episode, it says there's a Masato Tanaka versus Shinjiro Otani match, which does not happen in Ring of Honor, that I know of.
I did see one of those matches. It was very good. There's a point where Otani, like, he's doing...
A Tanaka versus Otani match?
Yeah, where, like, Otani was preparing to do a signature move, and the way he did it is, like, he just, like, did, like, a quick, like, invisible sword pose. And then, like, he set up for it. It was so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I bet those two put on some great shit.
Yes.
Would you like to do your summaries in the way that only you can?
Yeah, so this time, I would say just not to put them in, like, a, like, full, like, thing where I just do them one after the other, but rather I will just, like, go down my notes, and thus, like, this will give you, like, the, I suppose, the pause necessary for such things. Oh my god, the one-time memo is fucking up on me. Okay, here we go. Right, so, in order of matches and all that, here we go. That's it.
Wow. I chopped and screwed Connor. Connor something.
Well, I may actually go in and chop and screw myself there then. Ring of Honor. Fuck you. End of show.
Yeah, fuck you, RH bitch. End of show. I won the last one.
Named after one of my favorite video games of all time, Steve the 720. But I can tell you this, tomorrow, I can assure you Johnny Storm will not feel like playing video games because he'll be recuperating from that move right there. It's amazing how you can find a way to put professional wrestling video games in one little bit of commentary there. Right there, we go for the DDT.